All right. Then
Allow.
Jennifer Zerge.
I hope you find.
Okay, ma się wrócę, że jest oszczędzę.
Okay. Hi, everyone. All right. Hi, everyone. Okay. Hi. It's perfect. All right. I can start. Hi, everyone. Once again. Msikunje sujaivo sana. My name is Georgette Thuku. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and I specialize in intellectual property law. And currently, I work as an associate at Kaplan Stratton, where I work with multinationals to advise them in terms of intellectual property. And also, I assist inventors, innovators to protect their IP. I volunteer with the World Intellectual Property Organization to assist inventors to protect their ideas and their IP, basically. Basically, that is me. And today we're going to learn about IP, the basics of IP. And I won't give you a lot of legalese. I won't use a lot of legalese, just the basics, just the layman, what you need to understand in terms of intellectual property. So I think we're going to start. The next slide. So what we will cover is what is intellectual property, copyright in software, and AI. I think that's the most important currently as the world is mostly dealing with AI. Patents and trade secrets, who owns AI generated outputs, IP pitfalls, and the IP framework in Kenya. So we'll start with what is intellectual property. Does anyone have any idea of IP? Everything around us is basically IP. The seats you're sitting on, the computers, the software that you're developing, everything is IP. The creation of your mind is basically IP. Whatever you put into tangible form is IP. So you need to commercialize on the creation of your mind, which is intellectual property. Then we go to the next slide. So we have forms of intellectual property. Please let me know if I'm going too fast. Am I using a lot of legalese super? Is it understandable? Okay. I'm just going to try. All right. So we have forms of intellectual property. And the first one is trademarks. Trademarks are basically brands. They are names used to identify an entity from another entity. So for example, Web3 clubs, that is a name, that's a brand. It identifies this organization, right? We have brands like Coca-Cola, that is a brand, and people earn so much money with their brand. In terms of licensing, if someone uses your brand or copies your brand, it will basically dilute the brand that you've come up with. And for example, you come up with Web3 clubs as the first brand for Web3. And then someone else comes up with a brand like Web2 clubs. When a consumer goes somewhere and sees Web3 clubs and there's Web2 clubs, it's kind of confusing. You think it's the same person, right? So it will dilute this person's brand. So the money will go to this other person, some money will go to this other person, and the other money will go to this other person. That's why it's important to protect your brands via trademarks. The next one we have copyrights. Copyrights are basically literary works and artistic works. For example, software or source code is protected under copyright as literary works. We have sound recordings. Those ones are for musicians. We have novels which fall under literary works as well. Artistic works, drawings, things like NFTs, those ones. Also, we have patents. Patents are more complex, and patents protect technical features or technical inventions. Inventions like, what would I give an example of? Let's say a handle of something, let's say this desk. That's a technical invention, something that is new, it's not in the public domain, it's protected under patents. And then we have trade secrets. Trade secrets are, for example, you see the trade secret in the formula used to make Coca-Cola, the KFC recipes, those are now trade secrets. These are usually protected via agreements. They are not registered, but they are protected via NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. And we'll get to learn that how trade secrets are very important to developers. Then we go to the next slide. I hope from there, tuko pamoja? Are you grasping something? Something? All right. So copyright in software and AI. What's protected in copyrights? So see, you guys deal with a lot of software developing. That's why this topic is there. And what you should protect in your development, for lack of a better word. So we go to source code. Source code is what is protected in copyright for software. And that is even put in the Copyright Act as protectable under copyright. We have also the object code as well, which is also protected under copyright. And then we have visual layouts, icons. You can even protect this under trademarks. If they're very unique, if there are names or brands in there, you can also protect them under trademarks. And you can also protect the manuals, the guides, the handbooks, as long as they are original, not copy and paste. You can't protect anything that is copy and paste, and you cannot protect ideas. Ideas are not protectable under copyright because in copyright, there's something called fixation. Fixation means it needs to be in tangible form. You see, source code, it's written, it's in tangible form. You can read it. You see, let's say if you have an idea, you have to write it down for it to be read or for you to act on it. So you can't protect just something you thought about. You can protect data sets and structures, anything that you see that is original for yourself, anything that you've come up with and it's written, you can protect it. What is not protected is ideas, as I said, and also something called functionality. Functionality, as I spoke earlier about patents, functionality fall under technical features. So they are protected under patents. They're not protected under copyright. Copyright does not protect things, how things work, but patents protect how things work, the technical bit of it. We go to the next slide. Up to there, we together? Okay. What about AI? Are things generated by AI protected? What if you help the AI to generate something? Is it going to be protected? So there are very numerous debates in the world about this because in copyright law, something that is protected, it has to have the human touch. The human has to generate that thing. It's not protected if it's fully AI generated. So there are numerous debates on that, and it hasn't come together yet. There are no courts haven't come together to decide, okay, can AI generated work that is fully AI generated be protected, and who is going to be the owner of that AI generated work? In copyright, the owner or the author has to be a human. In the Copyright Act, the author or owner, it usually says a person. So it's a human, not a robot or anything else. Are we together up to that? So you have to enable the AI for you to protect it. Yes, next slide. So we go to trade secrets and software and patents. Here, I mentioned earlier that trade secrets are really important for developers. So when you talk about your idea or your invention, and you've come up with it, you sat down, you've really worked hard on it, it tends to be stolen, right? When you go and talk about your idea and whatever, it tends to be stolen. So you need to have drafted NDAs for your ideas. That should be the first step for your invention. Sorry, let me not say ideas. For your invention, that should be the first step before talking to anyone else about your invention. And you need to know who you're talking to so that they do not steal your invention. And also protect it. From the get-go, protect it. You can protect it if it's a source code, protect it under copyright. And in Kenya, protecting it under copyright is very easy. You just go on to Kekobo website and protect it. Under patents, there's usually a cutoff period when you disclose an invention. So in some countries, you have 12 months. If you disclose an invention, and it's already in the public domain, you have 12 months to register for that patent. If you do not register for that patent within the 12 months, it will be prior art. Prior art meaning it's already in the public domain and it's not new anymore. So you see, you need to protect your invention. If anything from this presentation, I need you to understand that you need to protect the creations of the mind or your invention. Okay? We go to the next step. We look at the key bodies that protect IP. We start with KIPI. KIPI is the Kenya Industrial Property Institute. It's located in Lavington, Wayakiwe. So KIPI is where you register your patents, your trademarks, utility models. Utility models are petty patents, meaning they are not as complex as patents, and their period for protection is 10 years, I think, and for patents is 20 years. Yes, KIPI protects patents, trademarks, industrial designs. Industrial designs are it protects basically aesthetic features. For example, you see how the iPhone 17 looks like? The aesthetic of iPhone 17 would be protected under industrial design. And then we go to KECOBO. KECOBO is the Kenya Copyright Board, where they protect copyrights. And then we have bodies like ACA, which is the Anti-Counterfeit Authority, where it protects counterfeits. And in instances where there are counterfeits that are registered by trademarks, you need to record them under ACA. So what are the steps, for example, for you to take? One, as I mentioned, register your software in KECOBO, file trademarks, your trade names, your brand names at KIPI, have templates for NDAs. Yeah, basically that's it. And consult a lawyer, right? If you don't understand anything. The next step. Pitfalls that people fall in. Ignoring licensing terms. Who owns the license? This, for example, if you've been contracted to do work as a developer, there's something in copyright called commissioned work. And in copyright, commissioned work means work that you've been contracted for or work that you've been employed to do. And under section, I think 31 of the Copyright Act, if I'm not wrong, 31, 32 there. That work is, the owner of that work would be the person who contracted you or the person who employed you. If you're using, let's say, the gears for the company and the output you're giving is for the company. And then you need to look at the licensing and the assignments. Are you giving away all your work to people? Assignment and licensing is different. There's licensing where you're giving work for a period of time, or assignment where you're giving away all your work. I'm trying to make it very simple for you to understand, because IT can be very technical if you really don't understand some of these things. And then, as I mentioned, disclosing your inventions before you filed. Please do not. And if you're disclosing it, have NDAs. And if you want to patent it, Patent it before 12 months. And then document things, document meetings, document everything, and have a lawyer to guide you with these things. And also, personal data. Personal data is very strict when it comes to the ODPC in protecting personal data of people. Look at clauses regarding personal data. Then we just can you move? Can you move it? The key takeaways here will be to protect, respect, and build boldly. As I said, copyright protects your code. I forgot to mention that copyright is automatic. However, to enforce it, or for example, you're taken to court because of an infringement, if you have like a copyright certificate, it will be kind of a watertight case. It will be something we call prima facie case. And then there is AI ownership is evolving. Document everything and read all your tool licenses, read licenses agreements, read everything, assignment agreements, and as I mentioned again, protect via NDA, that is the trade secrets. Because if you have a contract for NDA, that one will show. Now, if you go to court, at least you show the court that you had already said there's no disclosure and someone breached that contract. Then, when in doubt, consult an IP lawyer. Any questions so far? Have you learned something? All right. Here's fast, the guy in white.
Hello. So, the matter with so if let's say this guy was unemployed, they were attended. I like the level of anger, and I know I can do it. I didn't see the code. I didn't see anything. Something that was missing. With abide
Please repeat.
What I think is, let's say, somebody would have an ability that helps something really helps disabled people and like blind people see.
Yeah.
I know I can do it also.
Yes.
I haven't seen their code, but I built something that works.
Yeah.
Maybe I like how Coca-Cola tastes. So I create my own recipe.
Okay.
Why do anything, and if I have, can I patent it also?
Okay. First of all, you need to understand that IPs are different and they have different laws. So I'll deal with the algorithm thing. So someone has the same algorithm. You don't know about it. In law, there's something called, there's no ignorance in law. You can't plead ignorance. And then you go ahead and copy paste it basically. That's infringement. Yeah, you can't say you didn't know about it because it's not new. It's already out there. There's someone else using it. There's someone else who came up with it. And that's why you're supposed to protect it so that if someone else comes up with the same thing, they need to approach you on how maybe you can work together or how they're going to improve it and maybe get into a licensing agreement or an assignment agreement. Have I answered you?
What about Coca-Cola and Pepsi?
Coca-Cola and Pepsi. You'll find in these situations, someone was working for Coca-Cola and then they stole the trade secret and then went to Pepsi And then they had an agreement for non-disclosure. So probably Coca-Cola sued that employee and also probably sued Pepsi. And probably maybe even the recipe is totally completely different, or they tweaked something, an improvement or something. Yeah. Have I answered you? Okay, next.
All right, thank you. I wanted to know if you protect, for example, a trademark in one country, how do you get it protected across multiple other countries? Like what is that actual process?
Okay. So in IP, there are different routes you can go about. Let's start with trademarks. Different routes you can go about protecting your trademark. You can go via the national route, which is protecting it in Kenya. There's something that is called the principle of territoriality in IP, whereby if you protect something in that country, they abide under that law. So let's say, let me not digress. Okay, we start with the national roots. And then you want to protect it in other African countries, let's say English-speaking countries. You'll protect it under the African Regional Intellectual Property Office, WIPO, where it covers the contracting states under WIPO, which are English-speaking states. And then there's OAPI, which are Francophone-speaking countries. That's for Francophone, and then that WIPO is for English-speaking. So you select the countries where you want to protect that trademark. And then if you want to protect it worldwide, there's Madrid, which is under the World Intellectual Property Organization, where it covers, I think, 156 states. So you select the countries, it's called designations, where you want to protect your trademark, where, for example, you use your trademarks in those countries. Yeah, basically that's it. Have I answered you? All right. Let's go to a girl.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good.
My name is Salma. My question is, when it comes to patent, future patents, big application for patents, and let's say, I'm just giving a scenario where maybe I attended a hackathon and I shared the idea, and then maybe got a grant out of that hackathon. So when it comes to applying for now a patent, is that considered to be like disclosure?
Yes.
So how do I protect myself?
You need to first start. So it depends on the period. You see that grace period. You can disclose it within the 12 months. And then within that 12 months, you protect it. You rush and file an application. Yeah.
So my question is about AI. So I was about to join some hackathon, anything challenge hackathon from the country, I think Carbon country.
Yeah.
Then I happened to do their terms and conditions, and one of the things they mentioned there was if you build anything here, they own it. Like you use their AI system to build, they own it. So what will happen in a case that somebody went into the, you can say legal analysis of the thing, but somebody went into the hackathon, built something good, and somehow build, for example, let's say, operating. So what will happen? Will you be able to still claim ownership of that software? Or will you still do it?
Have you signed the agreement? Okay, in this scenario, will you have had signed the agreement? So they own it. So you need to negotiate with them. You need to read this clauses vizuri, and then you go there and ask them, I don't agree to this. These are my suggestions. Yeah, because they'll make so much money with it, and then they've given you maybe a lump sum just to, or you've just given out your idea just like that, your invention just like that.
So it's not in the contract that they are giving terms and conditions for the challenge.
So long as you submit, you go deliver.
And they'll use that in court. Yeah.
So you can't protect your idea, at this case it's gone. Obviously, it's so emotional in the timeline. Somewhere about this.
I think it's this flyer. Yeah.
So if it's annually or if it's
So, okay, don't quote this number, please. Because there are professional fees and official fees when it comes to patenting, trademarks, or any IP registration. So we start with the official fees. Usually, KIPI, or the Kenya Industrial Property Institute, has a fee schedule. So when you file for an application, there's usually an amount you're supposed to pay. And also for things like patents, you need to pay for annuity fees yearly, every year, to maintain that patent for 20 years. And things like trademarks, you need to renew your trademark every 10 years. In Kenya, it's every 10 years. In some other countries have different, but generally it's usually 10 years. Yeah.
and it's popularity because in the second slide, yeah, so what's not protected is so ideas consent or algorithms and also the slide that you have just see algorithms protected
Which one's algorithms? If something is a concept, just an idea, it's not protected.
I think that's in copyright. It's fancy that there's an area where the algorithms are protected.
Yeah. Yeah, patents. So you see, like, if the algorithm is not original, it can't be protected. Anything in copyright that's not original, it's not protected. And key idea or a concept, just uli otter. No, you can't protect it. Hi.
Just ask. So let's say you're some basic development skills. You never really do that here. And you would be like build a basic model, then it gets investment, then you go to the next stage where you get developers. It's not helping you build the app anymore. Like in a better way. How do you stop non-developers from running with your idea if you're an EPG person? Because they really have knowledge of how to code, they have that excellent.
Yeah.
So will you engage, like stop them happening, or is everything secure them from team? There's going to be one company who's your idea.
You're just trying to protect yourself with an NDA so that if they steal it, you rush to court and say, give them this NDA. They accepted, they signed, and yeah, that's your proof. It's evidence, basically.
So what happens if it goes, okay, let's say the initial contract now is already out in the market. If it's not ready, does it mean still you get it back?
See, now they'll have to pay you. Yeah, because now it's in the market. How much money will they gain for using it? Have you seen the USSD thing?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I can't talk about it. Okay, I'll talk about it like after, like when cameras are off camera, because yeah. Well.
So I have a question on mental health.
Mhm.
They have in the with the commercial aspect, especially in finance,
Mhm.
that obsolete,
Mhm.
especially our business.
Mhm.
Have a patent,
Mhm.
and then the company turns so much into consistency and make your patent obsolete.
Mhm.
One example is the company of consistent, totally with your system. With your idea. So how do you present it to patent holder so that maybe your patent doesn't become obsolete? And it looks like the annual fees that you pay each and every year, just
So one, I'd say you need to be resilient once you're going to court. Because you see, everyone is trying to protect money, their pockets. So if you get into that game, it can go either way. You just need to be resilient. And for a patent to become obsolete, one, if you paid your annuities consistently, then the patents cannot become obsolete unless the 20-year period in Asia. Once the 20-year period has ended, now your patent has gone to the public domain. That's when it will be obsolete. That one. And if you haven't paid for annuity and the time has passed for you to pay for annuity, it means that you have abandoned your patent. Or, for example, we have a trademark and haven't paid for the renewal fees. It means KIPI will send you a notice that this trademark hasn't been paid for, so you need to pay for it. If not, it will be expired and it will be abandoned. Yeah, have I answered you? Okay. That guy.
Okay, I'm going to give a scenario.
So,
Assume all of them and want to cross a river. Came from it, right?
you want to?
It's another.
Yeah.
The way to cross a river, right? Want to cross a river. And there's no reason to river. And one of me, I decided to bring a canoe, and my friend decides to bring a raft. Right? So at this aspect, like about someone stolen an idea in Italy, like because we're trying to solve a similar problem, but we have different approaches. Does this say like I've stolen someone's idea, like the aspect of crossing over the lake or the lake?
Well, I come back to my first point. Ideas are not protectable unless you put it in tangible form. And you see now the tangible form will show, is it original? Is it something new? Am I in the public domain?
Okay. Okay, let's move this to the public domain.
Yeah.
Let's say some example.
Yeah.
We have okay, double code. And some can be fast and again so like I'm not saying that like wanted to use an example of someone will blind and the problem is that this person cannot see. But if he picks something, I can make someone see. And I also go on my end and do something that someone can see. I also need to hear someone. But it's a problem we're trying to solve. But there is a different approach. Right? So someone has gone home, say, yeah, that's me, I went home and built on and doing and we saw the thing.
Well, who will be the first to register it? You know, court will look at such things now. Who will be the first to register it? Who will be the first to use it? Who will be the first one to commercialize it? Those are the things that courts look at.
Okay. So it does this.
Another analogy.
Okay.
Okay. No kind of analogy. Okay. Okay. Mhm.
Now there's this event, other companies with Signal, other companies can do their own.
No, it's like the things that are generic. Like you have to use them to get to something, you know? So these concepts or generic things cannot be protected because you have to, for them, you have to use them now to come up with new ideas. You see, IP basically it has to balance the rights of the public and the rights of the owner. Now I'll start philosophizing IP in this way. That's why patents, trademarks, they have like a limit. Okay, patents, they have a limit for 20 years because other people need to now start using those ideas to come up with other ideas. So that's how invention works. It has to grow. Have I answered you? Give me another analogy. I think
So, how might we protect it? If this is the case. I had a thought when I was discussing something with him, but then something came up. Like, assuming I have a very good product, let me go back to the product of applying person that is an algorithm that's helping them to see. There's a device that helps them to see. And then institute like Google comes in, right? To what extent am I protected? Google has the funding, has reach, has everything that I want. So, what extent does it have patent protect?
So your patent protects the new thing that you've come up with. So, for example, there's something called, as I said earlier, prior arts. When Kina Google and the likes want to protect their inventions, they go to look for prior arts and see there's already someone who has already registered this patent. So they need to also come up with something new so that they can protect it. Because if it goes to an examiner, because that patent needs to go to an examiner, if it goes to an examiner, they'll say there's already another thing that is protected. So this is not new, so they'll cancel it. So another alternative, if you've protected your invention or innovation, now Google will come to you and ask you, can we license it? We pay you, or can you assign the invention? We pay you. That's why it's important for you to protect it, so that you see it's a way of commercialization. That's why people protect things, so that people can come and pay you for your idea, for your invention. Yeah.
Does license license?
Yeah. It's still yours. So there is exclusive license and non-exclusive license, and there's assignment. Assignment, you've given away all your rights. Umepeana yote, it's not yours anymore. In licensing, you've given away some rights. So they'll pay you for let's say 3 years. So there's exclusive where you give to one person to use your invention. And then there's non-exclusive where you can give to different people to use your invention. Yeah.
Right. Mine is in a case where, no, let me change that. Okay, so what would you recommend in terms of signing contracts of employment? And then in the contract, it's communicated that whatever you create or whatever ideas you come up with during your term of employment is owned by the employee or employer. So what will for or how do I protect myself like against that?
Okay. So you need to understand, you need to have a meeting with yourself first and ask yourself, are you producing it for the company or are you producing it for your own self, for your own gain or to earn money from somewhere else? If it's for the company and you're using the company's resources, then it's for that company. If it's not in accordance of your employment contract, like your functions in the company, and you are building it outside work using your own resources, now that one will be yours. That's what the court looks at. Are you using the company's resources? Are you building it in the company or within the company's hours? And how is it going to, there are a lot of things they look at, the courts.
So my question is, how do I ensure that, okay, for time, yes, we can tell. It's they complete outside company hours, but now we need to document it or what happens. Is to prove that I was doing this, not maybe using the company resources. What happens legally? Where do I stand in the next thing?
Is that invention under the function that you've been employed to do?
So creativity is the minutes and then
Not really.
So how does the law actually protect?
Well, it protects. Okay, here I'll say it protects the companies. Yeah. But also, sorry, can I get back to that? There are things called technovations. So these ones, you need to follow the law on how technovations are protected. So a company, usually when you come up with a technovation for the company, they need to give you a certificate, and also you can negotiate for payment for that technovation. So it's not, don't really lose hope. So you'll go under technovations, but you need to follow the rules of what the Copyright Act says, the Industrial Property Act says about technovations and what you need to do for you to be protected under that. So always consult your lawyer. Yes.
Let's say if someone is in control of trademark, that route of technovation.
Yeah, sure. Do they have money? Okay. Pro bono day, na economy.
So my question is, let's talk about the Georgette case.
The what? Yeah.
For example, for them, they went ahead and registered as in Japan, but they was being received in Kenya. So the tech one, we have something called for example, what happened in WIPO in society where we usually find some designs inspirations. So WIPO registered by me, but when you look at the WIPO domain, it's triple B. Like, to avoid having the same name as WIPO, that would be. So we have to do it for it. Let's say you have a good product in here, but somebody has to do a name for that specific name.
Yeah.
It's like they have taken a name and said,
yeah.
You have built your app, but you want to use the same name. How will you get protection against such a user? Who protects something that doesn't exist? Yes.
You see, trademarks and domain names have different rules. Also, domain names are part of IP. And also the Kyondo thing, there's something called traditional knowledge for those things. So it's also part of IP. So you need to look at what the IPs say in those instances. What? Because there are different rules. Yeah.
So for example, for aluminum, 2020, I started for aluminum, discuss
Yeah.
things exist.
Mm-hmm.
After a few days
Mm-hmm.
of researching again,
Yeah.
found that it was in part. Like somebody got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like it's a good
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
But it's already gone.
Mm-hmm.
If I had built the app, by the time I'm going to buy the unit, it's gone. Somebody has the IP.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, what will happen? Will the buyer the remaining claim IP for the entire claim?
So you can send a cease and desist, and then there's dispute resolution for domain names. I think it's ICANN or WIPO also. They protect domain names. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The users from the discussion of how those seem to protect as much. You say they inhibit innovation more than innovators
Mm-hmm.
protect more.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen like countries where China IP laws are not as strict.
Mm-hmm.
Innovators like can go with the ideas. There are more rules to help the society rather than protecting the innovator or something that we want.
Well, I tend to disagree with that because you see, it's about knowing your rights. You see, most people don't understand IP, or African countries basically, they don't understand IP or what you're supposed to protect. So if you don't protect it, someone else will come and say it was theirs. That's why it's important to really protect it. And that's why the laws are there for protected rights. Yeah.
Innovations of when you say negative to maybe time with an IP or it's
Mm.
technology.
Yeah. Please repeat the question. What should I say?
What's like a situation where you discourage
Protecting. 100% encourage, not discourage, because that's your first right, and that's how you're going to commercialize it. You're going to earn money from it. They say IP is the oil of the 21st century. You see why can Elon Musk, can Google protect their innovations immediately? Because that's where the money is. And actually, the World Intellectual Property Organization has more money than any other UN organization because people pay a lot of money to protect this IP.
So it's the case of what's the most money necessary.
No, you misquote. No.
Companies, you can know the chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Make it unfavorable even unattainable to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just
It's know-how. You need to know your rights. And especially in these times, you need to know your IP rights. Because ignorance won't work, or victimhood won't work as well. Yeah.
Have the same values, protection.
Mm-hmm.
And they innovate faster
Mm-hmm.
and better protect the personal rights. Apple will patent for 20 years.
Yeah.
Patent that our pharmaceutical companies have patents. That's a patents. Probably someone has a cure for something.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I must give
they manage games like innovation?
No comments. I don't want to put myself on the spot on that because I work for multinational and also I help innovators. So I'm kind of neutral.
Okay, but that's absolute. So yes, the China would always have we do a great job of learning off the innovations of what other companies will push together. But an example to give you is in Kenya, at one point the communication authority of China gave the law it's like no more phones that are fake and they're very possible. So all those phones have to be removed from the market. So you essentially killed a business that was generating this paper. So what's the next iteration? The emergence of phones such as WIPO, Techno, and all these brands that have come out that are number one, affordable because they understood that the price point was a big issue. Number two, they had enough data to understand the complexities of this market. So, for example, Techno is one of the very few phones that has the technology to take glass skin. That's what gives it an edge. So they learned and created an innovation around that. So you have to keep thinking ahead of the grain and don't think about whatever competition or whatever is in play. Policy will always come, but you have to keep innovating despite what policy is there and ideate for the client and the user that you want to have.
And also, the courts look at unfair competition. Is it barring you to innovate? You see, if it's an improvement and it's new, then for sure it should be protected. Yeah.
Just to keep in mind, as much as we can.
Yeah.
So in terms of trying to see what society is that we to reach, maybe an idea of patent or trying to understand the trajectory of data a certain discipline that we to be can I patent so especially just like some resources or some places where we could go and expand our mind and what to do business.
Okay, to understand basically what IP is, the World Intellectual Property Organization, if you go to their website, they have a lot of resources for intellectual property, and they even have courses which are free for intellectual property. Even I think there's a course for software and licensing, IP in software and licensing, which is free. So when you go to World Intellectual Property Organization Academy, you can see all those courses, and also their website, they have a lot of material on that. Yeah.
I love what the law does, especially when it's on my side. But now you've mentioned something like, is it a new invention? You mentioned something like that. But now I'm thinking in terms of, let's say, my grandma, and she has this knowledge of herbal medicine, and I'd like to create a software for her. Obviously, now Kenya is diverse. We have more than 42 speaking languages that are spoken very differently, and probably they also have their own maybe herbal medicine cures.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not new. So in that case, how do I ensure that if someone comes up and says maybe this is also in our culture, we also do this, Like how does the law, where does this fall under? How will medicine, the knowledge of that?
So this
creating that software around it.
Okay, so there are two things. There's herbal medicine, which is traditional knowledge. And if there are various communities with this traditional knowledge, then the community needs to come together and protect it under traditional knowledge. I'm not sure there are countries where traditional knowledge is actually protectable. In Kenya, I think we haven't come up with it yet. Traditional knowledge where communities come together and protect such things. Even witchcraft, they protect the ways they do things. It is traditional knowledge. Yoga moves, that's traditional knowledge. Then we come to the software. Software is a completely different area. So is the source code new? Are there going to be icons in the software and things? There are so many aspects to it that needs to be protected. So it should fall under copyright, it should also fall under patent, it should also fall under trademarks. Yeah. So everything has a difference. You just need to know which IP it falls under. Yeah.
So I want to ask the point you mentioned, data sets. I just want to know like how data and data sets involve the IPs. And then it's like something like the sites transaction and they won't be IPs.
Sorry, repeat.
I just want to know that how data sets data and involve the IP. And you are also considering the mention property. How complex and they will look at things like such transactions, like the support some transactions, so medical records, the medical information. They also follow the same thing. I mean, also the mention.
So it will depend with the arrangements. In copyright, there's something called arrangements of things. So is the arrangement new? If it's new, completely new, then it's protectable. If, for example, you come up with a nice menu and it's new, the arrangement is new, then it's protectable. Yeah. I'll take one last question now.
It's something said about our own basic.
Mm-hmm.
That Pepsi sold an idea for online and they kind of had to put in the scenes, right?
As an example. Exactly.
You know, this is actually different companies.
Mm-hmm.
They have different formulas.
Yeah.
But they're trying to address certain solution.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that I want you to say this. People can have different ideas, but we're trying to solve the same problem, and it ends up being confusing. We are showing a certain view. I can see discuss something, then I go home and I build a solution, and you go and build one solution.
Yeah.
Then come back and say, like, I'm going to solve it because I'm not okay with this. Solution come and solve it, and the issues. But I kind of have to consult what you understand. So I think we can at least
so you are working together. Were you working together?
Okay, the situation like this.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we discussed an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Then we uniform, everybody needs work, and at the end of the day, when we came to say everyone like it was like, oh no, it's so like now that like okay, then we solutions so it's so you ended up saying that there was this idea. So this thing would have issues.
Yeah.
If you look at the code base, it's really different. It's not very significant. And even the database. How is this issue? Like, they still something they're already really enjoying.
What was fixed in that idea?
The problem is
because I'm trying to look at it at a legal perspective.
okay, the problem was
Was the outcome the same?
yeah, it was something the same, but the solution is the solution. Problem is the same, but the solution you're the same. Yes. So that's about
Yeah.
so this is the person sense. Like, okay, this thing has something to do with that. Okay, this also when I treat this some issue.
So,
So this part now, I always told someone to be able I enjoy doing for the one thing of structure. Because these things is still not of confusion. What we do is what is
if I answer you, you won't be satisfied because this is a concept called fast to use and fast to file. So if you come up with this, jurisdictions are different and their laws are different. There are jurisdictions where if you file fast, then that's the pattern only. And there are jurisdictions where, like in Kenya, it's fast to use. For example, if I've been commercializing my trademark, I've been using it, I can go to court and someone else registers that trademark. I can go to court and say, I've been using this trademark and this person registered it way after. So the court will decide this one has been commercializing and their sales for this and this period. So that's how the court will look at it. I know I haven't answered. You said no. Is it a class thing? Like a mood concept? Yeah? Exactly. But I think
as long as you're That's not right?
Do you need a lawyer?
Everybody has like different problems. Yeah, but they are with that because your money is a nice place. Right? So you all try to solve the same problem, you have to find choose the best possible answer. And so when we reach the consensus law, we had an idea, as an idea, then we're going through the meaning of regulation phase. But then if you move to you go to the regulation phase, and we are really competitive. You're not doing this right? If you want and box if you box across the idea, you remain the policy. If you have the quickest, that comes with the reason.
She's answered you. Thank you. Okay, are we done? Is that wrap? Okay.
So enough of free advice. Enough of free advice. You can now take a number. That